Hello, this is James. Superb Taya is now dropping what Counter Fairies sorely needed, what every deck sorely needs, a boss monster, Volantis the Adjudicator. After one of your counter trap cards has been activated and has resolved, you can tribute all monsters you control to special summon this card. If this card is special summoned in this way, you can destroy cards your opponent controls up to the number of fairy type monsters you tributed it. This is great. This, after all the negations, it lets you pour the heat onto the battle, lets you clear up your opponent's field, and it gives you a nice big monster at the cost of all your little monsters, but it's worth it. So I've been a busy little bee, and I have two Volantis the Adjudicator. So let's fill in the rest of our deck, shall we? So I have one Vandalgan, the Dark Dragon Lord. It functions similar to Volantis. If you activate a counter trap and it resolves, you get to special summon the monster. Vandalgan is a little bit easier because he doesn't require you to have monsters on the field, and he has an array of effects depending on what you negated. If it's a spell, inflict 1500 damage. Trap, target a card your opponent controls, destroy it, and if you negated a monster effect, target one monster in a graveyard and special summon it. So even though Vandalgan is easier to use than Volantis, we're going all in on this deck, so I would rather have a third Volantis, but my third Volantis for right now is Vandalgan, the Dragon Lord. And we also obviously need our counter traps, and we're going to do 3 Divine Punishment. If Sanctuary in the Sky is on the field, negate any spell, trap, or effect monster activation. Eat your heart out, furries. And then for that to work, we need at least 1 Sanctuary in the Sky, and we're also going to do 2 of the Scold. In addition to being hilarious, this card is actually really good, and that's why we're using the Fairy Smile skill. If this is the only sets card in your spell and trap zone, when anything happens, if a monster is going to be summoned, if a monster is going to activate its effect, when a spell or trap card is going to happen, negate it, pay 3000 LP, negate the summoner activation, and if you do, destroy that card. Now, please note, Wiz, the Sage for Hire of the For Hire deck, cannot negate counter traps. In fact, she is food for counter traps. As soon as she tries to negate something, you can hit her with the counter trap, and there's nothing that the For Hire player can do about it. And Solemn Scold, usually you run it at 1, but we're running it at 2, plus the Fairy Smile skill. Fairy Smile, if you normal draw a fairy, during your draw phase, card is revealed, and you recover 1000 life points, because it's just such a momentum killer. It's like Treacherous Trap Hole, but for counter fairies. Okay, and then we need the rest of our counter fairies. So we're going to do 3 Zeradias. This guy, he needs to have Sanctuary in the Sky on the field, and he also searches Sanctuary in the Sky. We're going to do 3 Bountiful Artemis. Every time a counter trap is activated, draw a card immediately after it resolves. And then only 1 Meltiel Sage of the Sky. So obviously, well, we need our boss monsters. Obviously, we need 3 Zeradias to search our 1 Sanctuary in the Sky. In the battle for deck slots between Bountiful Artemis and Meltiel, I just feel that Bountiful Artemis giving us that card advantage is more reliable than Meltiel, which, okay, it gives you 1000 life points, and it has a destroy effect when a counter trap is activated and resolves, but it needs to have Sanctuary in the Sky on the field. Whereas Bountiful Artemis could potentially draw into one of our boss monsters, and then we can special summon it, and we're gonna see that later. For our 4 remaining slots, we need to, so since Volantis the Adjudicator requires monsters to be tributed for it to be special summoned, we need cards that protect our small fairies. And we're gonna do 2 Super Rush Headlong and 2 Wall of the Daddy. Now, please be aware that Solemn Scold and Wall of the Daddy, they don't get along. If you have this set, you can't activate your Scold until your opponent attacks and you activate Wall of the Daddy. So if you open up Wall of the Daddy and the Scold, then generally you set the Scold first, kill your opponent's first monster, and then, you know, go into your Wall of the Daddy. Stuff like that. Alright, let's take a look at our replays. Alright, we're going second against Taya Gardner. And this is actually a replay. I was testing this deck against some stuff on Duel Island. You're going to be like, why is Taya using Fur Hires? The reason is because it's an AI deck. I left this in because it illustrates, I think, not the core combo, but the most desired combo of the counter fairies. So we drew a fairy. Fairy Smile is mandatory, so whenever we draw a fairy, we have to show it and we have to gain the life points. We play our Bountiful Artemis and we wait because this is a counter fairies deck and it's all about waiting. So we attack into the Dompa, and looks like Taya's on her back foot here. We go Mayhem for Hire, Dompa, Special Summon, and then we're going to hit it with the Ultimate Providence. This was an earlier build. I was using Ultimate Providence instead of the second Scold. And we negate the Dompa. Bountiful Artemis draws us our boss monster. So this is very desirable because, especially if the more Bountiful Artemis you have on the field, the more likely this is going to happen. If you draw your boss off of your counter trap, you can then special summon it immediately, as we do here. So we activated the counter trap, Bountiful Artemis gave us the draw, and then we get to special summon Vandalgan, the Dragon Lord. And I think that even... okay, so we negated a monster effect, so we get to special summon a monster, our zone is full, and then the AI activates Chalice. And even if this was a human-controlled for hire player, I don't think that there's much that they could have done in this scenario, except for annoying me with Mayhem. Alright, we're going first against Odion. And what does our brother have for us today? Okay, we've got a Meltiel and a Wall of the Daddy set. It really hurts when you don't open the counter trap. You really want them. Okay, so anyway, we have Sanctuary in the Sky. We're just gonna go in with just the attacking, and we're gonna hit a Wall of the Daddy and a Mirror Wall. Now, please note that Sanctuary, and not a Mirror Wall, Spike Shield. Please note that Sanctuary in the Sky prevents battle damage for battles involving fairies. Prevents battle damage for us involving our fairies, which is all of our monsters, except for Vandalgan. We hit the Swordswoman with our own Wall of the Daddy, doing some Wall of the Daddy trades here, and we don't have to worry about Swordswoman and her reflecting the battle damage because, again, of Sanctuary in the Sky. We hit the Man-Eater Bug, destroys the healthy Zeradias, and we still get the 500 damage. And then we draw Volantis, the Adjudicator, but we're not going to tribute because I had a sixth sense about the second Man-Eater Bug. Destroys the Zeradias, and it's our turn. Another 1,000 life points. So it's looking good for us. And then Little Wingguard. See, this is what it devolves into when you don't draw your counter traps. You have to rely on your admittedly still very strong Walls of Daddy and Super Rush. And so we draw a Zeradias, gain the life points. So we're out of the danger zone. We can attack with pretty much Wild Abandon, and then I think that's all of his Walls of Daddy. Anyway, so Fairy Smile, we draw the Artemis, and we're gonna attack into this Man-Eater Bug, but we still can't do anything about the Little Wingguard, which destroys our Zeradias, and it's our turn. We're gonna go Super Rush, so that we can make sure we have room for Solemn Scolding. Oh. And the Scoop. So anyway, the play there is you put the Super Rush, you get rid of one of the Little Wingguards, and then you whatever he does next, you hit it with the Scold, and you get out the Volantis, the Adjudicator. All right, we're going second against Joey Wheeler, LP Boost Alpha, and Joey is my headcanon pairing for Thick Shizu, because Joey's such a blockhead, and Thick Shizu's always caught up in the future, and then, so, opposites attract. Alright, I digress. Anyway, we have Red Eye's Insight. Now here, we need to understand how to play Counter Angels. And the thing with Counter Angels is you only have 2 or 3 silver bullets. You only have 2 or 3, let's see this Red Eyes Black Dragon animation. You only have 2 or 3 silver bullets, and you want to play them wisely. You only want to counter immediate direct threats. So like, while we could have scolded this Red Eyes Black Dragon into oblivion, I know that he can just get it back, and we're gonna let it happen because we see the tribute into the Jinzo. Oh, the second animation. Oh, we are spoiled today, my boys. Gets the tribute, but even the mighty Jinzo is not safe from the Scold. That must be because either Jinzo doesn't hit counter traps, or because Jinzo, like, it wasn't on the field yet, right? You chain the Scold to Jinzo's presence, something like that. Anyway, you can chain counter traps to blow up Jinzo. That's the lesson. Bountiful Artemis gives us the draw, and that's what I'm talking about. You don't hit the Red Eyes, you hit the Jinzo, because then otherwise you can't use all your traps. We discard Zeradias for the Sanctuary, and that's going to let us use our 2 Divine Punishments. A lot of monotheistic theming going on here. We're gonna hit now we're rolling in bullets. We're gonna go ahead and hit this Blaze Man, get him off the field, and because we get a card, we kill the Blaze Man, and we prevent them from getting a poly. So that's value. And we also, so here, right, here's again, not the core combo because it's all based on luck, but the most desired combo is that Bountiful Artemis draws us a card, and that card is Volantis the Adjudicator. So we special summon Volantis the Adjudicator, and we get, since we tributed 1 monster, we get to destroy 1 card. It's a chalice, so they're just, giving us the chalice. Alright, it's our turn, and we attack directly, and look at this. Alright, this field, there's nothing on this field. Our field is 2 Wall of Daddy and a Divine Punishment. We are ready for the Red Eyes Insight, and now again, we could negate the Insight, but he would still get the Red Eyes Wyvern into the graveyard, and that when that goes to the graveyard, it can be banished for Red Eyes Dark Dragon. So we're going to hit the Wyvern with the Divine Punishment, and now all we have to worry about is the Spirit, which we see here. Another Red Eyes Black Dragon, and which we destroy easily with Voltanis the Adjudicator. So once you get your 2800 attack point Voltanis out, you don't have to worry about the old swarming decks anymore. Your Magnet Warriors and your Red Eyes, because power creep. Thanks, Konami. We draw the Artemis, gain the life points, and we have lethal through 1 Karibo. Alright, we're going second against a Dr. Valiant Crowler. Is this Ancient Gears? Well, what do you think? No, it's not Ancient Gears, it's Fairies. So we have a beat and a double set. We discard the Zeradias for the Sanctuary, and Sanctuary is going to give us access to... and this time we're just going to set everything. Even though this negates the Scolding, it's worth it because we have a tons of flexibility, and all we need to do is activate these 2, and then we can get out the Scold, especially since we don't have any monsters. So beats can attack directly. Now, this is why we're using Fairy Smile. So we're using Fairy Smile because if we didn't have a way to gain life points, Beat would have removed our ability to use our Solemn Scolding, and that's bad. But since we just grew Zeradias, we gain life points. We now have over 3,000, and that's good. And so here is what we're talking about. What's the immediate threat? Does this need to be negated with Divine Punishment? I think not. We're just going to let it happen because he would have been better off just attacking my Zeradias. Instead, he activates the effect. He clicks yes because he must, and that lets us hit the Divine Punishment. Hit the beat with the Divine Punishment, and so in a way that's 2 instead of my Divine Punishment for the enemy controller, it's my Divine Punishment for an enemy controller and a beat. Okay, so he didn't have any monsters, or at least none that he can summon, normal summon. So he does a triple set, and then we're going to go into attack. Again, is this enemy controller an immediate threat? No, you're not going to be baited. We're going to save our silver bullets. Alright? And, okay, again, yes, he bricked out. But even if he didn't, we got the punishment, and we got the scold ready to go. Alright? Now, this is why we save our silver bullets. We save them for Treacherous Trapple, we save them for an emergency super rush, we save them for this. This is not a new card, but it's popping up a lot. Radiant Mirror Force. When an opponent's monster declares an attack while they control 3 or more attack position monsters, basically if your opponent is winning, destroy all their monsters. It's like Power of the Tributed and whatever, Ishizu's Tribute Blast, Tribute Blast card. But for, the actual meta where we don't tribute summon anymore. And that's what we save our Divine Punishment for. We negate that, and now we get the draw. Meltiel is gonna pop this, and even if it was something chainable, we can hit it with the Scold. And we attack for game. Alright, we're going second against the Seto Kaiba. And is this Hazy's? Is this Dragons? Nope, Furries again. Okay, stronger Furry opening this time. And we have a beat into a Dyna and searches a Recon, so we must already have a Wiz in hand, otherwise we can so search that. We're going to go Zeradias into Sanctuary. Play the Sanctuary, and the Sanctuary is like a big green flag saying, hey, I got Divine Punishments! So we have 2 Divine Punishments and a Wall of the Daddy. And a Bountiful Artemis ready to draw us our cards. He passes his turn, which is like prescient on his part because of the Wall of the Daddy. He's gonna go beat because I guess he has to, yeah, because otherwise we'll just keep sitting here staring at each other until I tribute summon my Volantis the Adjudicator and destroy his Dyna. So beat activates, negated by Divine Punishment and destroyed, and then Artemis draws our Meltiel. This is the core combo. He's gonna go Mayhem. Mayhem revives the beat, and it's our turn because beat was already activated. Beat was already activated, and then he can't activate it again. Like if this Dyna were a Dompa, he would be able to special summon whatever he's going to special summon. So we are going to normal summon our Meltiel, and we're just going to wait because this is playing right into our hands. Counter Angels are a passive deck, and we can't get over this Dyna Hero for Hire. Tributes for the Wiz. Wiz, and then we're going to go Mayhem. Mayhem searches Beat. Beat specials another Dyna. Oh, I have him now. Okay, and then that searches a Dompa. Dyna banishes. We get the beat down. Now we have the Wall of the Daddy. He thinks he's safe with Wiz, but he's playing against Counter Angels. Wiz negates. We hit the Wiz with the Divine Punishment. Alright, Wiz is down. Artemis draws a card. Meltiel destroys the back row, destroys the enemy controller. And the reason we hit the back row was because I didn't know what it was. And this Dyna with 3,100 attack points is now, during this battle phase, it's minus 16 because he has 2 monsters. So it's 1,500. My 2 1,600 attack point fairies are safe. Perfect, and he scoops. Alright, so that's counter fairies. They're a little situational. They need to draw strong, but I'm loving the new boss monster, Volantis the Adjudicator. Thank you for watching.